And this is 36, the podcast. Podcast. 36, the podcast. And this is 36, the podcast.
All righty, Fairbanks, how you doing? Fairbanks, North Star Borough, how are you guys doing today? We're here live at the Hoodoo Brewery Studios once again. My name is Tilden.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Brandon.
And this is 36, the podcast. Well, today we have a special guest once again. And some of you may know her. And if you don't know her, you soon will. It is Tiffany Hargraves. Okay, A.K.A. the Dalton Darlin. Okay, so before we get into the questions today, we want to ask you, are you on social media as the Dalton Darlin?
I am, yes.
Okay, well, please share with us some of your social medias.
So I'm actually on multiple platforms. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
Okay. And so all we have to do is search the Dalton Darlin.
Dalton Darlin, without the G. It's Darlin.
Darlin.
Hey, Darlin.
Got you. Okay.
So all those Southern boys gave me the name, I guess.
Got you. All right.
Alaskan Trucking Adventure.
Good
That's the name
deal.
of it, yeah.
Good deal. So if you guys have not guessed by now, the Dalton Darlin, she is a trucker. And she, you go up and down the Dalton Highway.
That's correct, yes.
Delivering-
Majority of my trucking is up there.
Delivering goods and whatnot.
Yes.
Okay. But before we get into all that stuff, a little bit of a recap of 36 the podcast. We are three guys and we enjoy sipping on beer. And so we decided to come up with a podcast. Now, this will be a first for us right here. And the reason I'm saying it's going to be a first is because, we sip on 36 ounces of beer while we're conversating. However, for the first time, we have a guest speaker who, does not indulge in alcoholic beverages. And that's okay. That's okay. All right. But we're still going to flow anyway. So, thank you for your discipline.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'm a driver, commercial driver.
Exactly.
I can't risk
Exactly.
getting in a vehicle.
Exactly. And so you make wise decisions too.
That's right.
So thank you for making wise decisions. I feel so much better now whenever I pass a trucker as long as they've got your attitude and your discipline. All right. So getting back, talking about beers. Today we have a cask, and the cask, it's a special one. Let's pull this up again because it's kind of tricky. Okay, so today's cask, it's a stout conditioned on cacao and 2 chopped habanero peppers. So that's today's cask coming to you from Hoodoo Brewery. So guys, let's take a little sippy sip and see what we think about this stout today, conditioned with habanero and cacao. I can taste a little bit of the habanero.
Kind of a slow burn.
Yeah.
Towards the
Yeah, I could actually taste that. But I'm not too sure if I'm a fan though. But it does have potential, I'm thinking. What are your thoughts, Brandon?
It reminds me too much of coffee. I'm not a huge coffee drinker.
Mm-hmm.
I can smell it. It smells like coffee.
Yeah.
It's really good.
But you can taste the hint of habanero, and it's not anywhere near overpowering like sometimes when they put the jalapenos in the IPA. Sometimes
Right.
It can be a little much, but that is also a very popular one, so I was surprised to see they put it in the stout.
Got you. Yep. Yeah, so I think that this is, I don't think I'd get this all the time, but I mean, it's got potential. It's definitely got potential. All right. Yeah. So let's get back into some podcast stuff.
Did you just smell it, or did you actually taste it?
Oh, I just smelt it. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, it
so-
smells good. It smells like coffee and
Can't really smell the habanero though.
no. It's not as spicy, but it does smell good.
Got you. Okay, so we're going to start off with a few questions for you just to get into the podcast. Tiffany,
Yes, sir.
the Dalton Darlin. My first question for you is, what inspired you to become a truck driver?
You know, that's kind of an interesting. I can't say that I sought it out, but since I was a kid, and I grew up on an island, believe it or not, like 36 miles of road, Ketchikan, Alaska.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
All right.
how I became a truck driver on the Dalton, I'm not entirely sure how that all lined up, but it was perfect.
Okay. Okay.
But
Are
I've
there
always-
are there a lot of truck drivers that were in your area when you grew up that you know? Okay.
No, none of my family are drivers, like truck drivers. I'm blue collar. Most of my family's in education, and
Right, right.
I fell into it because I was commercial fishing in Southeast. I did that for about 7 years.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I've always been in a, I don't know, a man's world. I put that in air quotes there. But, man's industry. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I decided one day that I wanted to be closer to home.
Okay. Okay.
It lined up, and I just ended up applying, and I got a fast start program here in Fairbanks. So I left Ketchikan, which is a little island in southeast
Yeah.
Alaska.
Ketchikan is far.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Yes, it is. But I flew up here, and I took that fast start program, and I got my license, and I did take time off to be a mom.
Okay.
That's my full focus, right? But after that, I started driving and worked my way up. Now I'm on the haul road and loving it. And now yeah.
Okay. Now, so do you get a chance to go back down to Ketchikan? Like, do you still have family down there?
I do, yeah. Occasionally I go down. It's been a while. My reunion is coming up, actually. I'll be down there hopefully this summer. I'll go check it out.
So, because now that I think about it, and now I'm looking and I'm visualizing exactly where Ketchikan is on the map. So I don't really think there's too many trucks down there, are there? No.
It's kind of funny. I fell into it here.
Yeah, because now that I think about it, yeah, so probably fishing, that is what a lot of people grow up to do that live down there.
Fishing, tourism,
And
logging.
And you said, I want to drive trucks.
No, I went and I looked over, and there was a trucking opportunity, and I went, oh, I could do that. Just lined up.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So, typical day driving the haul road. What's it like?
Well, so I guess I could say that here in Alaska, we have a lot of different, our regulations are a lot different than like the lower 48, which is actually, it's a pretty good thing. And so you go down in the lower 48, you can only drive for a certain amount of hours. Here we have a little bit more, so which is good, because when I wake up and I leave Fairbanks, on a typical good driving day, it'll take me anywhere from 12 to 13 hours to go from Fairbanks to Prudhoe Bay. So once I get to Prudhoe, I'll have to do what's called a reset, and I will take 10 hours off, and I'll sleep either somewhere on the road in a safe pullout or in town there in Prudhoe Bay, and then I'll drive south the next day. And usually with what I'm doing, I'm empty, so that'll take me anywhere from 10 and a half to 11 hours, maybe more. So
Are you by yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't have a co-pilot?
No.
Oh,
No.
wow.
No, that would not. We got into talking about that just the other day. Somebody was talking about, it's called team driving. Mm-hmm. You would have someone else in the cab with you, or they'd be in the sleeper, and you guys would kind of switch shifts.
Right.
And that's more feasible on like other types of roads. Mm-hmm. But the Dalton is extremely rough, and there's
Right.
some really steep hills.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
Okay, yeah, so the furthest I've ever been is to the Arctic Circle. So that's all I know
Yeah.
of the Dalton. So it gets a lot rougher than what I've seen.
Well, and it depends on what time of year you go up.
Well,
right?
summertime too. So,
Yeah, summertime's actually rougher than wintertime, believe it or not.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it's not feasible to have, in general, to have a team to drive that road because, somebody's going to hit their head in the back.
Oh,
There's not going to be any
yeah.
really good sleep,
Right. Okay.
So,
Got you.
So you actually kind of answered some of my question, but aside from road conditions and like really steep inclines when you're driving the truck, probably pretty hard under a load, what are some other challenges you face while driving long distances, especially on that road?
well, I mean, I guess the definition of challenge is a really, is it, mechanical issues? Because we have those. Is it weather? Because we'll have those. But I think for me, I love it because I'll wake up and I'll be driving south out of Prudhoe and I'll see, springtime. I'll see these baby muskox. And you just want to go. I mean, they're just adorable, And so really, when you say challenge, there's so many more benefits to being out there. And
More pros and cons.
Right.
Sure.
And I guess I will say I'm really limited because I've only ever driven in Alaska. You go somewhere else, they're going to come up here and they're going to say, whoa, that's not typical. And I'm like, oh, well, that's daily. Like,
Right.
So we have our trucks are set up differently. Our equipment is set up differently. We have, like I said before, different times that we're allowed to drive, hours. That's all different for me, but it's what I'm used to. So that's kind of that question could go a little bit deeper, kind of.
Okay, well, let me go into maybe a sub-part question on that. Maybe zero in on something. I've seen those shows like Ice Road Truckers, and they seem to, obviously it's a TV show, so they're going to make it seem like it's a really crazy incident or something's going on. I mean, is there challenges, especially in the wintertime, that would put you in a position where you need help, you need to call for help, or is that a little over-exaggerated in the media?
Okay.
If I'm allowed to ask that question, I don't know.
Yeah, and okay. So this is okay. Yes, we have instances like that. I will have weeks of trips, back-to-back trips where I go north and I come south and I go back and I go south and it's smooth, maybe a little rough here and there. You get used to, certain potholes and you can remember them. And then there's those trips where something happens.
Right.
And when you leave Fairbanks, you head about 28 miles north on the Elliott Highway. There's about 72 miles of Elliott before you ever hit 1 mile Dalton. 28-mile Elliott, you lose cell phone service. And you don't get it again until Coldfoot, which is about halfway.
Oh, good Lord.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So if something does go wrong, you have to be pretty innovative, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to figuring out, how to change a tire, you have to be on that stuff. A shock, change airbags.
Are those things that you've had to do?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's not just about driving the truck. You also have to be able to
Yeah.
potentially fix it.
Yeah. So, this is again, I'm just used to it,
Right.
But this is not typical for, I guess, truck drivers in general.
Oh,
But
wow.
up here in Alaska, this is something we have to do. We have to figure it out
Oh, wow.
because the tow bill up there is not going to be easy.
Ooh,
right?
yeah, no doubt.
But what I will say, above all, is the Dalton Highway and the crew that drive up there. They are phenomenal. It doesn't matter. And this is actually a saying, something that was drilled into me from trip 1 was when you leave your yard, meaning where you work, the name on your door does not matter. So you may work for this company, you may work for that company, but when I see you and your hood is popped, I'm going to stop. I'm going to make sure that you're okay. You're warm, you're safe, you've got parts, or you've got a plan of action, I'm going to make sure that you are okay before I continue on. That's a general rule.
Right.
And it's It's pretty much, it's instilled out there.
Right now, so are you guys all sporting the Starlink minis back and forth now?
No.
Really?
There are some drivers who do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're putting a $300 piece of equipment on top of a truck and going over some bumpy road and hoping it doesn't fly off. I mean, I don't know. It makes me a little nervous thinking about it. But.
Okay. Well, yeah. So I was just thinking. So in my mind, I was thinking, okay, because once you get past that 28 mile, and there's no cell service, the Starlink doesn't necessarily have to be on top of the cab, but you just deploy it when needed in case there's an emergency. So that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and I mean, there is that, but I'll tell you this. I mean, we do have other resources like satellite messaging services.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's true.
And we have two forms of communication out there. I mean, other than just, flashing your lights or waving through a window, there's more than just that. We have a CB radio. Mm-hmm. Just about everyone runs channel 19. Mm-hmm. So that is the universal communication.
Okay.
And then we have what we call a big radio, either a ham radio or a VHF, and that one you can program different channels. So I have my own company channel. This company over here has their own channel, and they're constantly on it. And then there's also a universal, haul road channel is what it's called. And so you can get on the haul road channel.
Okay.
And say, hey, do you have a spare shock? So-and-so's over at,
Got you.
mile 6 and they need it.
So it's not, okay, so you can communicate. If there's an emergency, you do have forms of communication. You just can't call back to the house in Fairbanks and say, hey.
Yeah, I mean, nobody at the house would help you anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
200 miles away,
Exactly. All right, then. Good deal. Okay, so.
Well, I was just saying, what's the range on those CB radios?
Well, it depends on how they're programmed and lined. There's so many factors.
Atmospheric conditions.
Like 5 miles, 20 miles?
I mean, I'm driving down, over by Old Man or maybe up at 70 Mile Flats, and I'm picking up people in New Hampshire, New Jersey,
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
They bounce around a lot, those things can be pretty finicky.
Oh, wow.
But in general, seeing someone on the road, if you have a good setup, maybe a mile or so.
Oh, okay.
A couple miles. But the other thing.
Pretty close range.
Yeah. And that's good because, I can talk to, a buddy headed south, I'm headed north, and I can tell him about, hey, just so you know, there's a big drift over here. Oh, hey, there's a herd of caribou over by Sag River. Take it easy, dropping up, into the 120 dip, whatever it might be.
Right. Hazards. Communications.
Yeah. Just quick little here's road communications, and that is a really good way of just communicating that quick brief or initiating contact through the big radio, which does go a lot further. Again,
right.
Depending on how it's set up in the vehicle,
Okay.
So each truck is going to be a little bit different.
Now,
Right.
So have you stayed with the same company since you first started, or do you typically go from company to company? How does that work? Or are you a contractor, or?
So so you can do it many ways. There are some people who will contract out. There are some people who actually come with their own trucks. Mm-hmm. And you either pay for the truck or you lease the truck and pay for them to drive it. I mean, there's so many different ways that companies can get freight from point A to point B.
Got you.
I personally, right now prefer to just be a company driver.
Okay.
Because
right.
when I get in the truck, I know that I can head north and I can come south. If I find anything that needs an issue or is an issue that needs to be addressed, I can bring it to the shop and then they will take care of it.
Got you.
But at the end of the day, I can check out.
Right.
And I can go home and I can be mom for a couple days.
Right.
Because that's like I said before, that's my full focus.
Got you. All right. So my next question for you, and you had touched on this a little bit, but we're going to delve a little bit deeper into it. When you talk about driving by yourself, all right, those are some long, boring at times roads that I'm assuming that you go up and down. All right, so how do you stay alert and focused during a long haul, and you're by yourself?
Well, me personally,
Yes, you personally.
sometimes I'm listening to podcasts.
Yes. Okay.
I'll add 36 to my arsenal.
Gotcha.
My
Gotcha.
downloads.
Gotcha.
Sometimes it's music. Sometimes it's an audiobook. Sometimes I'm going to be honest. After a couple years out there, 3 years out there, like, there are times when I will just listen to the hum of the motor
Gotcha. Gotcha.
because it's soothing and it's pleasant and
Gotcha.
it's grounding, you know.
Right.
But in general, every person's going to be a little bit different. Some people just listen to audiobooks, and there are a few drivers that I know that they'll drive for 4 hours and then they'll stop and they'll take a nap or they'll get out and they'll go for a walk, and everyone's a little bit different. So
Okay. So when you say take naps, so I always go back to Smokey and the Bandit, right? Because of Smokey and the Bandit, like, I had aspirations one time as a little kid of being a truck driver, right? But that one song, got a long way to go and a short time to get there. Do you guys have, like, time constraints? Like, do you have to be in Prudhoe Bay by boom?
me personally, I do not, because
Okay.
I deliver a certain product, and I can deliver that at any time, whether it's 2 a.m.
Now,
or
so is
6.
that your choice, or does it rotate from load to load?
Oh, that's standard with what I do. Now,
Okay.
if you deliver, let's say you're bringing up an oversize, you may only be able to deliver from this point to this point during the day.
Okay.
Well, the crane is only available at this time, or the operator's only there at this time, or the weather's going to get bad at this point. We need to get it offloaded before. So there are some things that could really put constraints on delivery. But for me personally, I deliver something that just I can go at any point in time during the
Gotcha.
day,
Okay.
night, whenever.
Okay, so
Offload.
if you felt that you need to pull over and take a nap, you can do so without being worried about missing a deadline.
Yes,
Well,
I will.
That's good. That's good.
I will say this though. One of the biggest things, and we talked a little bit about possibly technology changing.
Right.
So now we have something we call e-logs, right? And it's really important to be compliant, and I understand the reasons why they implemented these things in order to keep people safe.
Right.
Okay? But there are times when I will go through a blizzard and I will get through the other side and I'm exhausted. The emotional stress that going through something like that puts you through, you just need to stop and let the adrenaline drop naturally. And it's better for you to be in a pullout somewhere than like on the road.
Right.
And with what they've done with e-logs is you will never get that time back. If it's 45 minutes, you stop and you took a nap, that 45 minutes, you'll never be able to get it back unless you did something that's called a split, where you could take 2 off here and then you take 8 off in a different spot. It has to equal 10. It's kind of confusing, but the technology that they put in place has really limited and changed a lot of the culture up there because people are not necessarily as willing to stop and take those moments for themselves because they know as soon as I get up there, I have to get offloaded and go off duty.
Okay, so how long is your layover when you get to Prudhoe Bay?
Well, I have to take 10 hours off somewhere.
Okay. And so you would typically do that in Prudhoe Bay, or would you wait till you got back down to what's the other city?
Coldfoot?
Coldfoot, yes.
I wouldn't have enough driving time to get back to Coldfoot.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, and, I would have to say that would really depend. I prefer to stay in Prudhoe Bay because for me, as a girl, as a lady,
Yep.
I prefer, necessities indoors.
Right. Yeah.
Rather than using the birch trees. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be.
Oh, whoa! Wait a minute.
So
Hold
for
up.
me,
So your truck doesn't have the whole little deal?
no.
Oh,
No.
I was thinking you had a full up.
Oh, this is not an RV. It's just there's a sleeper berth with my
Yeah,
bunk.
sleeper.
Yeah.
With the little porta potty,
Oh, no. I couldn't do that anyway. I eat in there. I sleep in there. That's gross to me. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So I prefer to stay in town And then
wow.
what I will do is I'll kind of when I get to town, if it's getting really windy,
Yeah.
and I know maybe the snow might get really bad or it might get really, really cold in town, but it's going to be 30 degrees warmer, just about 60 miles out of town.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll go stay at 62 mile pullout. So I mean, it really depends when I get there what I'm seeing for my next morning and getting started the next day. And
Oh. Okay.
I'll leave if I have to, and I can go a little ways south. But
Yeah.
as far as hours goes,
Yeah.
I only have 15 hours that I can drive in a day, and
Okay.
it'll take me 12 to get there.
Okay, so Prudhoe Bay, you're there. You've got some time to get some rest and recuperation going on. Do you guys get per diem when you stop in Prudhoe Bay for those 10 hours? What is that per diem like up there? Because I've seen some of those prices for milk and
No, well,
just crackers.
I bring everything that I may need with me.
Oh, so you guys don't get a per diem if you want to eat up there?
I think every company provides something, and they're individually.
Holy smokes!
But for me, I don't. I just go up there and I sleep, and maybe I'll use the facilities, or I'll shower, or I do have resources because of my company.
Right.
But every company is going to be a little bit different.
Okay. All right. Good deal, man. Wow. I didn't know that you guys had to, you pottied on the side of the road up on the...
There's hardly any facilities up along the highway. And Prudhoe Bay itself it's really industrial. So there's, this whole area is focused on the oil fields and providing what the oil field needs, because that's what keeps us going as far as that oil pipeline.
I've been there once.
You do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I flew into Dead Horse and went into Prudhoe Bay. Worked for Houston for a week.
Yeah. What'd you think?
It was not for me.
What time of year was that?
A dead of winter.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I will say that when you're out there, you can be in town, and we have how many hours of daylight in the wintertime? We don't get many, right?
Yeah.
But we have a lot more light pollution than you may think. When you get out into the wilderness of Alaska,
it's just dark.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, you can see the aurora. You can see, sometimes you can even see the Milky Way, the stars.
Yeah.
There's some of the most impactful aurora borealises that I have seen have been out there on the road. I mean, they get so bright sometimes. You could, not saying that I would,
right,
but you could shut the lights off on the truck and see everything.
Oh, wow.
That's how bright it gets. I stopped one time with a friend up at the top of Tulik just to get a look at these lights, purple, pink.
Yeah.
And I stopped the truck, shut it off, got out, and you could hear it.
Yeah.
It sounds like Rice Krispie treats. It was amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the crackling, like pop rocks in your mouth. That's what the aurora sounds like to me when I'm out there sometimes.
Okay, so
that's a really strong one.
Okay, so question for you though. Is it, but because I'm listening to this and this would be something that I'd be interested in doing, but do you guys do ride-alongs?
Yeah.
Oh, so if I wanted to ride along with you up there?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, with what I haul, I'd have to get you to sign a waiver.
Yeah.
I'll take you up.
Really?
Yes. Absolutely. And I'd really,
I would love
honestly,
I'd love to go on a trip like that.
Honestly, I'd recommend driving up with someone who knows the road.
Oh,
and
yeah, of course.
communication. There are people who will just go north, and there are blind corners. There are really bad spots.
Yeah.
Some of these places. A couple years ago, we had Chandelar Shelf, which is a hill. I want to say that's probably, I don't know, maybe 11% grade.
Oh,
give or
okay.
take.
Okay, what's the range, or what's the pass or range that you crossed over to get to Prudhoe Bay? What's that called again?
Adigan Pass.
Adigan Pass. I heard that's pretty treacherous.
Yeah, so Chandelar is right before that, and it was it was so bad a few years ago that you had to throw a set of chains to get through the mud. So,
Good Lord.
You go up there with a four-wheeler and you don't know about these things. You might not make it up that hill. Ooh. And there's been a lot of instances out there where people, they come out and they blow a tire and they use their spare and then they blow the next one and they have nothing. So I would always tell you, if you can, get in with somebody who has a form of communication, who knows that road, who can avoid those obstacles, who can communicate with others. I would highly recommend that.
Oh, wow.
Over going up by yourself and taking your own personal equipment.
Now, so if any of the listeners are interested in doing a ride along, I mean, like what is it they need to do?
Well, if they know a driver,
okay,
talk to him personally or her.
Okay,
There's a few hers out there. Talk to that individual personally.
Okay.